In the car, I play my dreams. Permaculture flows like sweet streams. I'm the daddy with the know-how seed. Greening the world like it's meant to be. Permaculture, P-I-M-P, I'm the king. That's love in everything. Bring a change, making it last. Join the Permaculture.
Welcome to episode 394 of the Permaculture Pimpcast, where PIMP stands for Permaculture is my passion. The only Pimpcast on planet Earth where we discuss permaculture, preparedness, practical living, and sometimes prostitutes.
Permaculture, P-I-M-P, with soulful rays. In the P-I-Pimpcast, where we find our place.
Oh, good to be here with you this Monday, right after Christmas. Okay, we weren't here that day, but, we never are. Well, no, we actually do most holidays or whatever. Or, I needed a day to weed eat, so that's exactly what happened. And, it was just a day for me to get caught up on things. Well, anyway, this episode, as always, brought to you by Hickory Ridge Soap from twooldcrowshomestead.com.
Turn that simp into a pimp.
Bam! As your standard, y'all. Yeah, Food for Health 15 will get you 15% off for all the new customers out there. It's in the description box down below. Sorry, y'all. I'm still trying to get hydrated. I've been out there shoveling all day. I'll come to that in a minute. Anyway, as your standard, they're going to be sponsoring the Sovereign Health Summit. And really looking forward to talking to more of Azure. We're we're definitely going to have him on the show here before too long. In fact, be talking to the CEO, David himself. So it was a joy to meet him in person, and I can't wait to get him on the show. So anyway, let's just jump right into the farm news. And by the way, y'all, for those that don't know, people are wondering where the podcast went. Well, yeah, we're not on our regular YouTube channels anymore because they are playing games. In fact, even my front porch talks now, the second they get posted, they unsubscribe another 30 people. I guess they don't want me saying what I say. So anyway, that's exactly why we're here in this space on the Permaculture Pimpcast channel and also Permapastures Farm on Rumble. So I guess we'll need to make that a little more well known. Anyway, let's just jump right into the farm news, son. Let's see here. While everybody was out there, Christmas shopping, doing what they do, and all the other things that go on around Christmas or whatever, well, I saw it and I see it, instead of doing what everybody else is doing, which I've talked about numerous times on the show, I do the polar opposite. So while they're out there buying gifts, I'm buying silver. While they're out there, at Christmas parties or whatever else, I am building new planter boxes, 2 foot tall, 4 foot wide, 8 feet long. And I got 7 of them out here, and I've replaced the wooden ones that I've had. I talked about this a little bit before, but I finally got around to putting them in. So anyway, that's what I've been doing for the last, whenever I can actually make time for it. So I got maybe 5 of them left to do. So it's a lot of work, but it is the kind of work that, number one, I enjoy, and number two, is almost certainly going to pay dividends based on the conversation William and I were having before we went live here. So, folks, I'm telling you, with everybody doing what they do, nobody's even I'll come to silver here in a minute, but, nobody's even talking about the things going on in this world. Apparently, we're bombing, Venezuela. Unbelievable. Yeah. We're bombing, Satan himself flies over from Israel, lands at the White House. And I don't know what it's
Satan's lobbyist, Dad. It's Satan's lobbyist.
There you go. That's exactly what it is. He gets over there. I don't know if Trump had to ask for permission from BB. But anyway, here we are, just casually puts out there, we just blew up another port. I don't recall seeing the declaration for war. This is what happens when, after 9/11, everybody said, we can just preemptively murder people. Why not? Just go ahead and do it. So that's probably part of the reason why all the insiders started buying silver. And that's probably just the beginning of it, because guess what nobody's talking about? Nobody's talking about the Hunter Biden laptop. Nobody's talking about the Epstein files. Nobody's talking about any of that. So, And here we live in the United States of amnesia. So that thing is, that's normal. That's par for the course. But anyway, while everybody else is zigging, I'm zagging, folks. I'm going to tell you that the number one survival strategy that has served me well all my life really is doing the polar opposite of what everybody else is doing. So if they're out there buying gifts for one another, I'm out here, I'm growing food. I'm going to do the polar opposite. It has served me well. I can't think of a time where it didn't serve me well. Now, I said in my front porch talk that, there may come a time where it bites you in the butt, but I don't recall one. So what everybody else is doing, I'll be doing the polar opposite. Y'all go ahead and you watch the football games and all these other things. Nothing wrong with those things in moderation, but I just don't want any part of any of it. I don't want anything. Besides, all these NFL games are rigged anyway. I mean, NFL, NHL, I mean, maybe less to NHL, but NBA, you name it, it's all rigged. There's entire YouTube channels. Son, have you ever seen any of those YouTube channels talking about that?
I think my algorithms on social media or YouTube are pretty much know that I don't really care about sports if it ain't like fighting or anything like that. But on that Venezuela topic, did you know they're trying to bring back piracy, like government sanctioned piracy they're trying to bring back the letters of marque, and then you get to keep the spoils that you get from these boats. So Absolutely. This obviously is a trap. Like, what am I supposed to do with 1,000 kilos of cocaine? What am I supposed to do?
You know what I can see happening is you get a bunch of old boys out there getting drunk and get out on a pontoon going down there. All right, y'all, stick them up. I can see a couple of old boys going down there on a pontoon and then making somebody walk the plank, man. They'll be going down there. They wouldn't even pack food, man. We're going to catch dinner and, just fill it up with beer or something, man. I think I can honestly see a bunch of guys from Texas, Alabama, everybody in the Gulf, man, just heading on down.
Wait till Louisiana finds out on those shrimp boats.
Oh, man. Oh, you have a Bubba Gump piracy ships out there, man. I can see it happening right now. Anyway, some other things going on around here. Sheep are on stockpiled forage. Like I said, folks, you can see a theme here. I'm doing the very opposite of what everybody else does. So a lot of people I know have probably been feeding hay for the last couple of months. Look, my animals are on stockpiled forage. Everybody's wondering, well, how do you raise ruminants for free? Well, if you're not stockpiling, if you can't stockpile, you got too many animals, almost certainly. You got way too many animals. So you need to be thinking about, if you do have many, okay, well, at the beginning when your grass is starting to go low, you need to kind of scale back a little bit, or maybe a lot, depending on a lot of folks, the way folks run things out there right now. But my animals will be on stockpile for just about all of this winter. And I got more animals than I ever have. And when we first got here, good night, it was all we could do just to feed 4 sheep.
Yeah. You could see the soil through the grass. Like the soil was exposed in a lot of places.
Yeah. And now, I scaled back a little bit. There's 1 or 2 more I could probably pluck out of there. But honestly, good night, man. These guys are, they're going to be on stockpile forage for pretty much most of the winter. So folks, if you're wondering, how do you possibly make money in farming? You can't do it by doing what everybody else does. That's why we had Bo on last week, and that's exactly what he was talking about. If you're doing what everybody else is doing with the ruminants, with their omnivores, if you're just going to the store and doing what everybody else does, you're not going to make a dime. Now, you may have the peace of mind of knowing that, okay, well, I fed this animal myself. It was processed here, whatever the case may be. But this is how we feed ourselves for free. So when everybody else is out there spending, so much abundance, where T and Amber came over from Mountain Readiness. I gave 2 sheep away to Jason down at Sow the Land. This is the kind of abundance you can produce, folks, if you do good management. If you don't do good management, you're not going to have that opportunity. And like I said, I got 2 more I could easily put in the freezer, but I'm just kind of playing it out right now, just wanting to see how my stockpile is going to go. And I can still do it. But at the end of the day, now there are places here that aren't fully recovered, so I use hay strategically. So I'm going to put it down where it's needed. If there's thistles, briars, and stuff, I'm going to let them go through. They're going to get what they want. Like the silvergrass, where right here, they're on the back of the mountain. And where there's silvergrass and stuff, well, they're not going to eat the silvergrass, but they'll eat around it. And son, their presence there, what is it doing to that silvergrass? I mean, it's the silvergrass is there because of compaction and too much bacteria. So what's their presence going to make that silvergrass want to do?
Well, it's going to change the biological ratio in the soil between the fungi and it's going to increase the fungi in the soil, which is going to make it inhospitable to the silvergrass. The silvergrass likes like bacteria dominant soil. It likes really crappy soil. I mean, all these different weeds serve a purpose. If you can understand what purpose they're serving, then you can take that role on yourself or fix the conditions and then get rid of that particular weed. Same thing with that multiflora rose. That's a indicator of compaction there. That silvergrass is an indicator of compaction. Look at all the places that silvergrass grows. If it wasn't directly planted there, it's growing there because of compaction. And compaction creates bacteria dominant soils.
And for those that don't know, I mean, that Chinese silvergrass, y'all, it is the scourge of Western North Carolina. Nothing will eat it except for a water buffalo. And ain't none of these old boys up here running no buffaloes, no water buffaloes anyway. So, yeah, usually in permaculture, we'd say you don't have a silvergrass problem. You got a lack of water buffalo problem, but they're only going to create even a bigger problem, especially animal that size in an environment like this. So besides, man, I wouldn't mind eating a water buffalo, man. I wonder what they taste like.
I'd try it. I want some water buffalo for just the milk for some real good mozzarella.
Oh yeah, there you go. See, there's a reason right there maybe to consider it, but not quite yet in the rotation yet. But anyway, folks, the point being is that if you're raising your animals, you're doing your gardens, you're doing everything else like everybody else does. You plant your trees in the spring when everybody else does. No, the best time to plant a tree is in the fall or in the winter, depending on where you live. So if you're doing everything like everybody else, I promise you, you're going to be going backwards. That's exactly what I was trying to communicate in that front porch talk. But anyway, speaking of front porch talks, man, good night, man. Every single thing I put up at this point, they unsubscribe it's a compulsory thing, dude. They unsubscribe 30 people every time I put something up. So, hey, y'all, it is what it is, and I'm not gonna be muzzled. So I'll get it out some way or another. So let's talk about some of the other hacks I got going on around here. Your mom and I have both been having a problem with coffee, and listening to Dr. Jack Cruz and also Logan at Sowing Prosperity, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, man, I need to re-examine this stuff. So folks, here's a little hack I did. First of all, let me back up a little bit. Gary Brecka, he's another biohacker. He talked about how you never want to drink coffee as soon as you get up. In fact, according to him and people like Dr. Andrew Huberman, you don't even want to touch coffee until an hour after you get up because of your cortisol. And that's why when you drink coffee real early, you're going to have this spike. You're going to have this spike, obviously, in energy. And then by noon or somewhere thereabouts, you're going to just be dead. So that's why he suggested waiting an hour. But I figured out that, okay, I did that and it seemed to help a bit. And then it didn't. And now what I'm doing, and it seems to be working out quite well. And in fact, I think I might just go ahead and get rid of it altogether, which absolutely scares me. But anyway, waiting until about 10 o'clock before I have any. Now, folks, I'm up way before the sun comes up. So that's waiting quite a while. Plus, I'm realizing I'm doing better by doing that. And I'm not having the same reactions. Because honestly, it would make me so neurotic after a while. I've never had a problem with coffee. And then all of a sudden, your mom and I, she started having a problem with it too. She just gave it up altogether, which is saying something. And I think she mailed a bunch of coffee to you guys.
Yeah. My wife just brewed it this morning. She mailed all the coffee over to us. But this morning I was telling Emily, like, I don't think I can drink coffee either. Every single time I drink coffee, I'll get like a deep like stomach ache where it's like it's not in my stomach, it's like almost in my intestines almost, where I'll just get like this deep like pain. It's hard to explain, but I get that every single time I drink coffee. And I don't even really drink. That's not really something that's difficult for me to get rid of because I might drink out of a month, I might drink coffee twice. So I just wanted to try the stuff that Mom sent in this morning, which was really good. It just, I don't think I can drink coffee anymore.
Yeah, and this ain't like Folgers, y'all. I mean, she's buying that highfalutin organic stuff. I mean, everything we put in our bodies here, everything we eat and drink is better than organic. So it's not like we're using crappy stuff. So anyway, what I figured out is that if I get up in the morning, we do the chores, I do my thing, I do my people care, do my Bible study, do all that stuff, and then I have coffee after I eat something, it seems to be less of a problem. So anybody else out there dealing with that, give it a shot. Let me know how it works out for you. And then other things I've started doing too is getting back into a meditation practice of visualization. I was hearing Ed Milet. I said it to William. He hadn't had a chance to look at it yet. You know, like every professional golfer, basketball player, football player, you know, everybody's heard about it from time immemorial, visualizing, you know, your goals and the things you want to do. I mean, you know, even the Bible talks about, you know, where there is no vision, that people, you know, I wish I could remember it exactly, but, you know, people basically fall by the wayside when there's no vision. So you got to kind of have a plan for your life and for the things you want to do, and even for your mindset. And, you know, you wake up every day, all of us, for the most part, and you're thinking 99% of the same thoughts day after day after day as you did the previous day. Well, you can't expect anything in your life to change. Let's say you have a bad attitude about something, or your outlook on life is weird, or you have a medical concern, or whatever the case may be, or you have exercise goals. Well, the best I've ever done in my life is when I visualize things before. So somehow, I don't know why this happens, but you'll see incredible results from something. And then if you're like me, it's going good. And then somewhere along the way, you kind of lose your way in doing it. So I'm getting back into doing that very thing and making sure I do it for at least 15 minutes every day. And then, you know, okay, so what do you visualize? What do I visualize? Well, you know, I visualize exactly where I want my exercise goals to go, you know, my health to go, you know, blessings for my family, goals that I have for the farm, goals that I have for my life, goals for building projects, all these different things that I'm rehearsing in my head exactly how I want them to unfold. Just like a golfer goes out there and they imagine themselves teeing off, hitting it perfectly from the tee, and then putting it into the hole. They imagine the perfect way. Well, why can't you do that very same thing for your life? So I'm getting myself back into the practice of doing that very thing. So it seems to be, not seems to be, it is working out. So that's
that verse you were looking for was Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. That's in the King James version.
right. See, that's exactly what I was looking for. So that's, I mean, and there's other references as well, but the point that the big point, folks, in every part of our lives, man, we just kind of, I know it's tough to do right now with, you know, inflation, what it is, and, you know, that inflation as it supposedly doesn't exist. All these things crazy that are going on right now, this is a time where you have got to do it even better than ever. Even if it's just 5 minutes on your lunch break, or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever you can manage. Just try to sit here and think about, and honestly, I've talked about my prayer life and how that kind of overlays in a different way, because every time I drink water, I get down on my knees and I literally pray. So it's kind of hard to stay in a sinful state when you're constantly on your knees praying to the Lord. So the two can overlap. So folks, just think about those other things. And then finally, I'll just talk about the last thing. Your mom and I, we were out and about this last weekend, and we usually eat everything at home. Folks, I'm to the point now, I hate going out to eat. I really do. I know that's not the case for most people, but I know that we can make better food under this roof than nearly anything we can buy. Now, unless it's some kind of ethnic cuisine or whatever, by and large, I know that there's not a thing out there, you name it, that we don't make better here. So we usually eat at home, but we went to a restaurant that in the past, I won't name it, but we went to a restaurant that in the past was decent. It was good. I mean, it wasn't the best, but it wasn't bad either. And then it's been a while since we had been there. So your mom and I went through, decided to sit down, ordered the same thing. I get the same thing in this place every single time. And I kid you not only was it more expensive, but the sandwich was about a third of the size, and it had a third of the sandwich stuff on it. And I'm like, okay. And then I also got a piece of cake there, which I wish I hadn't done. Man, I ain't gonna lie, dude. It kept me up half the night. It was like, why am I paying, first of all, a king's ransom to go eat subpar food when I know I can fast anytime? I can sit here, I can eat or I can not eat. And I tell you what, before I sit down to a lousy meal, I am going to quote not eat. In fact, your mom and I walked out of the first restaurant. We got in there, and this guy sticks us up in this cubby hole. And I look on the menu and I'm like, okay, there's 5 pages on this menu. No, Jack. Oh, yeah, 5 pages because it's all just delicious. So you got 5 pages worth of menu. I'm like, don't think so, man. I think I'm going to go somewhere else. So we got up and walked out of there and went out from the frying pan into the fire. I guess what I'm saying is, folks, I know people got less money than ever, and I get it. But man, if I'm going to go, I promise you this: if I'm going to go out to eat, man, I'm gonna go to a place where you look down to look at the menu instead of up. That's been my policy for some time, but even now, it's even getting strange and weird in those areas because now, man, it's like COVID made everything go down one notch, and then here lately, I don't know what's happening. I guess maybe the financial crisis, I don't know what's going on. The inflation has made it hit to a point where, honestly, I just don't want to eat out, period. Son, over to you.
Well, on that note, yeah, Emily was saying because she's getting kind of like cabin fever. She's been stuck in the house for quite some time now. I mean, she doesn't really go anywhere other than the grocery store for the most part. And she was wanting to go do something with the baby and go eat somewhere. And I was asking, I was like, where are we gonna go where the food is worth it? Like I live, in East Texas. Closest place I could drive to and find some like actually decent food would be Dallas, and that's like 2.5 hours, 3 hours away. Like Texarkana doesn't have anything good to eat. Mount Pleasant doesn't have anything good to eat. Yeah, it's like we're in the similar predicament, only we're in a little bit more of a food desert than you guys are. I mean, you guys aren't
A lot more of a food desert, son. At least I can find restaurants here.
Yeah, that's a fact. There is literally nothing. I mean, there's Randy's barbecue. There's Randy's barbecue in New Boston. That's about it. But other than that, just what did I do yesterday? Planning videos. I did a lot of yesterday and today. Today I'm getting back into uploading shorts and everything, and trying to figure out like a workflow that doesn't just take forever and that's not clunky. I'm uploading shorts over on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Honestly, the reason for it was to try to get the word out as much as possible, reestablish followings there to get the word out as much as possible about this health event, the health summit this next October. Because I know I can get access to different people depending on the different platforms. Like TikTok is going to be more international. Instagram is going to be a little bit more local. And then YouTube, a lot more local, especially to the United States. So yeah, reestablishing everything there. I did that because I got that community strike from one of the live streams that we did on the Pimpcast. I did the review training. It's like a questionnaire where you have to fill out the questionnaire and see what violates community guidelines, what doesn't violate community guidelines. I got that done, and we also stopped live streaming the Pimpcast on my channel as well. And what do you know? Like the throttle's been taken off my channel again. I've got like a video from like 6 or 7 months blowing up right now. Views are going back to normal and new uploads and everything. It's wild. And then one of the video series that I'm planning is like a comfrey series. For some reason, there's a lot of people looking at comfrey content right now. So I'm going to come up with like this comfrey series, not masterclass. That always feels like I don't know, just a cringy way to say it, as if I can have the authority to say that this is a master class on something, as if I've mastered something regarding comfrey. I don't mean it that way. I'm just coming up with like a full-blown series on comfrey, on how to propagate it, uses, benefits of it, things like that. And then one of the things we'll be doing here shortly is starting seeds, because I am in Texas. I can start growing a lot of these seeds here soon and get things in the ground in about 10 to 12 weeks. Typically. So I'm going to be starting beetroot, broccoli, because the baby loves broccoli. And it's funny that she didn't like broccoli until she saw my friend's kid eat broccoli, and she's like, maybe I do like broccoli because he was all excited about it. Gonna do probably some cauliflower, some peppers, um, some rosemary, get a bunch of rosemary started, and then a bunch of strawberries started as well. So we'll be starting those seeds here before too long as well. And then probably some tomatoes. For like keeping track of all the seeds and everything, I just look at the Garden 8 app. Kind of looks like this. Just type in Garden ATE, all one word on your app store, whatever it may be. And it'll pop up. As soon as I arrived at Jeff Lawton's farm, he was saying, him and the farm manager were both saying, if you're serious about gardening, download the Garden 8 app. So I did, and I've had it ever since. So that's what's going on here. Just a bunch of like technical computer work and everything like that.
Yeah, there's man, that's one downside of living in the South. Or I wish I was further south, to be honest with you at this point. But yeah, you don't really get a winter off. I mean, not really. Well, you can, I guess, depending on how you do it. But I can't remember the last winter I took off, but that's where a lot of good ideas come out of the North. So anyway, yeah, so it would be nice to be able to have that respite. But anyway, Colleen says, we rarely go out to eat. Cooking is one of my passions. Yeah, there you go. Passed down from my mom, and man, I'm losing the comment. Anyway,
I got you. And to our 3 sons and daughter, my mom would be proud.
Yeah, and Matthew says they go out to eat once a month just to get the wife out of. Yeah, so I get it, man. I mean, if it's not worth, I would rather. I mean, I know I can go days and days and days without eating, so I don't need to. But there are, I mean, unlike you, son, look, there are good places I know I can go to. This one was just convenient, and I thought it was going to be like it was every other time I've been there. It wasn't. It's gone way downhill. Look, man, I don't mind. The bottom line is, man, we just keep saying to ourselves, like, man, why on earth do we ever, every time we go out, we're like, why do we even do that? Why do we even go out? So, if anything, maybe I'll take over some of the cooking duties like I did the other day, just give her a break a little bit. And then plus, your mom, man, she cooks enough for a flipping platoon, man. And
it depends. It depends. If it's bomb, there's barely enough. If it's not that everything she makes is awesome, but it's like everything else she'll like feed for days. But if it's something like we really, really like, there's just enough.
Barely enough. Yeah. I don't even get that. I don't get that. Well, I'll tell you what, there ain't barely enough of that cheesecake she made out there. She made it, and I'm not eating. I'm trying to stay completely away from white sugar and gluten, minus that cake I ate that had no flavor. It was supposedly a coconut cream cake. It was absolutely awful. And this was at a bakery, so they make it look pretty, but man, I don't even know. I probably ate plastic up in there. Who even knows? But anyway, I'm staying away from white sugar and stuff. So she made this cheesecake out of coconut sugar, and you can't tell the difference. If anything, I think it tastes even better. So she made like a gluten-free cheesecake with out of coconut sugar, and I think I told her, I said, what am I supposed to do with this whole cheesecake? She said, you told me you wanted a cheesecake. Yeah, I thought you were going to make little cups or something, man. I didn't know she was going to make a whole doggone cheesecake. I'm like, okay, man, you got to be very, very. So yes, she did make a giant cheesecake, and I'm just kind of whittling away at it. But I'm like, okay, this thing's going to have to get out of here before too long, man, because I don't know how much more I can do this, but it is absolutely fantastic. All right, y'all, Sovereign Health Summit, that's going to be coming up October 27th through the 31st. And the discount code where you can get 5% off is going to be TPC, Tango Papa Charlie. And folks, we're going to have obviously the option, and if you want to be there in person, that's fine. But if you want to watch it online, we got that option as well. So we're going to be broadcasting live out there, and it'll go take you to a portal, the whole 9 yards. And not everybody's going to be able to make it there. But man, folks, if you haven't seen the theme here a lot on this show, and especially with a lot of what I've been talking about and a lot of people I've been interviewing, it's about the health. I mean, there are so many people right now. Man, if I could I get on Twitter just long enough to kind of get a feel for the bottom, what exactly is going on out there. And then after that, I've just cut it off. People are probably wondering where I've gone. I mean, I'll get on there, respond a little bit, and then I may not be on for days. Now I'm titrating the amount of bad information I'm put or bad news or whatever I put in my mind. Once I get a feel for the bottom, I'm getting out. So anyway, I'm listening and I'm seeing, because I do notice these patterns, that a whole lot of people are talking about, man, we got, okay, Eric Sider out in California. I think it's been 3 weeks. They haven't seen the sun. Eric told me today, he sent me a text. I think he said they had a couple hours of sunshine yesterday. That's been it in sunny Sacramento, California for 3 weeks of fog in California for 3 weeks straight. It ain't no fog, folks. They're dropping this crap out of the sky, or they're using ground-based stuff to do it. And so I think there's a whole lot of people getting messed up right now. And folks, this is why I'm talking about health. And that's bringing me right back to Sovereign Health Summit. I can't think of anybody. I'm going through Michael O'Neill's book right now, the husband of Barbara O'Neill. And folks, we have got to be thinking about every possible thing we can do for our health, not just for ourselves, but also our kids and our grandkids. Because Lord knows these people here in the government, they don't want you around. They want to kill you. I'll be honest with you. They want you dead. And if you can't see that after the last couple of years of what went down, I don't know what to tell you. So anyway, we're trying to give people out here some serious, trying to make it affordable as possible, but we still got to pay the bills at the same time. And also get the people this information from not only Barbara O'Neill, but also all the other people that are going to be there dropping information that you've not heard Barbara talk about. This is information from people that you've probably never heard of before. And this is my wheelhouse. This is where I'm hanging out. This is what I do. These are the people that teach me. And these are the exact same people we're bringing in here. So that's going to be October 27th through the 31st. Harmony, North Carolina, if you want to be there in person, and then online tickets as well. So be there, be square. All right, EMF Rocks, 10% off with promo code PERMA. William's holding his up right now. I got mine in my pocket, and I also got the big one here on the grounding mat that I got the grounding mat, and I put it on top of the grounding mat, and my feet are on top of it and the grounding mat. So, yeah, I'm making sure I'm G'd up from the feet up, and I mean grounded, and also protecting myself as much as I can to create some kind of heart coherence with the EMFs that are around me. So 10% off will get you 10% off with promo code PERMA. They will get you squared away over there. So let me jump into the good news. It went a little bit long in some of that segment. All right. So first good news, and I guess it's kind of bittersweet news. I don't know if you can call it good news, son, but silver is, what did you say it was a minute? I know it was up as high as $75 today.
It was 71 when I checked literally just minutes before we started the podcast.
Okay, folks. Here's a good and a bad thing. Now, I'm not your financial advisor, but I've been telling you about silver since I don't know when. Now, I got the lion's share of what I have back when it was 23, but I honestly believe a person can buy it right now. Let's say it's $80 tomorrow, and I still think it's a bargain. I really do. So silver should be about 1/10 the cost of gold historically, but they're lying about everything right now. And now, because manufacturers need this stuff, the chickens are coming home, or the silver's coming home to roost in a big, big way. And you got that Samsung battery plant that talked about, man, we got these new batteries. They're going to they're paradigm changing. They're going to change everything. And there's about I forget how many ounces of silver are in each battery. But
Ounces?
This battery, huh?
Ounces?
Yeah, ounces. Yeah. And in these batteries, but these batteries are like on a whole nother level. New technology on another level. They are so hyped up about having this silver that they made a deal with these silver mines in Mexico to buy from them directly. It is absolutely that crazy on silver. So there's so much paper in the market right now. And if the price keeps going up, man, we're going to start seeing some serious margin calls. We're going to start seeing some wacky stuff. And it's going to get real. So what does this at the end of the day mean? Doesn't mean that silver's going up. It means your worth of your dollar is going down. And so that's why I say, even if it was at $100, I think we're still I think $100 will have been a massive bargain. Maybe at the way it's going, maybe even a month from now. I mean, who even knows? All I know is I don't trust the stock market, so I don't invest there. Remember, folks, I do the very opposite of what everybody's doing. That's why I've been into what I do for the longest time. So everybody else puts their money in a 401k and does stock market and does all this and that. Okay, that's fine. And if you're so inclined, other people want to put it into Bitcoin. That's fine if that's what you want to do. I'm going to trust the Lord's money, and that's gold and silver. I don't recall anything about having being paved with Bitcoin. So I'm going to stick to what's been money from time immemorial. And you can do what you want, but I got a feeling that if these wars unfold like I suspect they might, silver may honestly get up to the point of unobtainium. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you what to buy. I honestly know that even at $100, it still feels like a massive bargain to me. So folks, do what you want. It wouldn't shock me if they drop it. John Rubino was talking about it a little while ago that they may, because they hit a high on Friday, that they'll probably drop it back $20. Well, if it does, I'm going to be buying more. So folks, you do what you want to do, but I ain't trusting this dollar. I ain't trusting any of this stuff. In fact, you're probably better off taking those dollars. If you need new tires on your vehicle, it's probably a better investment to invest in those tires. And that's what I was talking about at the top of the program, where my dollars are better spent on farm infrastructure, garden infrastructure, things that really move the needle in a massive way in my life in how I produce my food. We were talking about how, look, we don't pay any money for meat. We don't have to. I don't have to go to a butcher shop. I don't have to. I got those skills. So these things, there's things that are worth more. Yeah, maybe I could probably do the whole program on the multiple ways of actual income, but that's really not the point here. The point is I'm calling silver a good thing, but look, do you want to live in a world where silver is $2,000? Because if it does become that, folks, you may want to transfer your investment from silver to lead if it comes to that, because that is not, and some people are actually predicting that. I'm not telling you what I think on that score. Look, I'm always prepared. So do what you feel like you need to do. All right. Second good news story. Was that even good news or not?
Well, hold on. I got some good news. I got some good news from Matthew over here. He's saying our bedroom is unfortunately close to a smart meter. The EMF rocks surprisingly help a lot. There you go. There's some good news, Dad.
Yeah, that is good news. Yeah, Matthew. Man, I'm glad you caught that comment, because seriously, man, look, folks, in fact, I didn't even talk to William about this yet, but I'll tell you what's been bugging me in this podcast is they put commercials on here and then they pay you some little tiny amount or whatever. Look.
Oh, they don't pay it all for the commercials on this.
Well, yeah, they do. But the point being that what I'm getting to is I don't endorse any of those products on there. So I'm going to see if there's a way for your mom to take those commercials off to make them go away. I don't endorse any of those products, but the ones I do, folks, it's because I actually use this stuff. EMF rocks. Like I said, I got it on my hip all day long. The ones I sleep, I got 3 of them on my bed now. And then as soon as I get more money to spend, I got one at the Wi-Fi router. It's sitting right there. I got one, anything that has a motor on it, I got an EMF rocks in there. And yeah, and every once in a while, you want to take that thing out. You want to ground it for at least 15 minutes. I usually go a mite longer than that, but I trade them out every single day. So the ones that are on the router, they graduate to the grounding mat. The ones that are on the bed go to the router. You see my point is that I rotate them all the way out all the time. No, it's not getting rid of your cell phone signal or anything like that. It's just creating coherence. So yeah, Matthew, I'm glad that's worked out for you. So, man, that's sorry to hear that about the smart meter. I've been meaning to do another video on how to mitigate some of that from the smart meter. Now, since you brought that up, or let me just go ahead and address this. There are some people that feel, oh, okay, they put these covers over their smart meters. Well, you're just paying it forward to the neighbors. All you're doing is ricocheting it right back into your house, folks. Don't do that. If you're going to put any kind of shielding, make sure you put it on the inside of your. Look, if you're not a journeyman electrician, if you don't know what I know, you might want to rethink about some of that stuff. But there is fabric, military grade fabric that I know you can get that will help shield that stuff. So if you can put it on the wall on the inside of your house, it should help. I got to actually test it. I'm talking about this theoretically. There's even some paint that people have talked about using. I haven't yet tested it, so I can't verify. I haven't verified it yet. But once I get around to it, I will definitely let you know what I find out. But yeah, smart meters, all that stuff, man. I'm glad to hear that's working out for you, man, because I know this thing absolutely is helping in a big way. So, in fact, if it didn't, I wouldn't have bought you, William. I wouldn't have bought more for y'all. Did I send you all those? Did Mom send you those pocket ones?
Oh yeah. That's the one I'm holding up right here. That's the one I keep, like, whenever we do the podcast. That's the one I literally put right next to the computer. And as far as the ads I was talking about earlier, I'm talking about on YouTube, not the audio platform. Because whenever people go back and listen to the live stream on the Pimpcast channel, or even, well, I mean, I guess not the other two anymore, but on the Pimpcast channel, when people go back and listen to that or watch it, they're playing ads throughout it, but they don't send anything back to the Pimpcast channel as far as the ad revenue, because the Pimpcast channel has been deemed a danger to society, literally, like their words.
No, I'm right there with you. I'm talking about in the audio platform. So I'm going to tell your mom to get rid of that because, look, I don't care what they're paying. At the end of the day, my reputation means more to me than dealing with. My reputation means more to me than them making whatever money they make from it. So, and I don't want anybody accident or thinking that I support whatever ad they're putting on there when I don't. If I support it, folks, you will hear me talk about it on this show because I actually use it. All right, so let's see here. I can't wait.
It says, Billy, where do you prefer to buy silver? I buy at antique and pawn shops.
I would be a little bit careful about that. Seth Holhouse was talking about that very thing, where he had known some people that went to pawn shops. Folks, I'm telling you what, a lot of pawnbrokers out there, man, are some of the most dishonest people you will ever come across. And I got a history with some of these folks. I won't go into that right now. But anyway, he was talking about how people were buying platinum and I can't remember what it was, gold also. And these guys were they were finding out that there was tungsten on them in the middle of it. So they were cutting them in half to test them. And they were coming back. It was like touch and go. I ain't saying that's what you've run into, but I get mine from, oh, shoot. Who was it?
Treasure Island?
No, it used to be Treasure Island.
Metals with Mike?
Yeah, metalswithmike.com. I use the one, and then Ranger they'll basically cut off the shipping costs. That's where I go because I know I'm getting legit stuff there. I'm sure there's some good pawn brokers out there, but I've had so many bad run-ins with some of these guys that I ain't trusting them. All right, so next good news story: green backlash. Rural America pushes back on renewable energy expansion. The reason why I wanted to bring this up, it reminded me of my buddy Tag from Life Done Free, and they're wanting to put up these windmill farms out here in the middle of Kansas where he is, and he mobilized. Man, this is the cool thing about having community that's reliable. The community went out there, man, they blew up. They showed up at the city council meeting, said, ain't going to happen. You ain't doing it in our backyards. And what these farmers are saying, man, they're finally starting to wake up saying, look, man, I don't care what you're paying. I don't care what you're charging, whatever. It's screwing up the ecosystem in a big way. Can't have it out here on my farm. And people are starting to wake up. So I'm glad that's happening. Not saying there's not a benefit to capturing energy, but there are so many different ways they could be doing it. You know, they got them all off the coast, New York and stuff. But do you see them at Martha's Vineyard? Nope. You don't see them up there where the real wealthy folks are. So be thinking about some of that stuff, folks. They're going to try to put this stuff up. They're going to need energy. The power grid is already taxed out. They can't do any more. JM Bullion is also good. Somebody else put out there. There's so many different ways. Folks, they have free energy technology that has existed since the 1930s, for crying out loud. I mean, T. Henry Moray. I mean, good night, man. The history books are long with people that knew how to do this. And then the people that have done it in recent times, they either come up dead, people like the guy that created the engine that ran on water, Stan Myers. Dr. Will actually knew Stan Myers. And there's a number of others. They either come up dead. They have the patents for all this stuff, folks. In fact, they buy all this free energy technology. It already exists. They don't need any of the stuff they tell you they need. It's, in fact, go check out an interview with Colonel Fletcher Prouty. He was the guy in the movie JFK that Donald Sutherland's character was modeled after. And this guy was wicked smart, absolutely a genius. And he talked about how the whole thing about oil being a finite resource, where it all came from and who came up with it. And of course, it was that polecat, Henry Kissinger. So they called it fossil fuel, even though if you think about it, come on, fossil fuel, really? No, it's abiotic, and the Nazis knew it. The earth naturally produces it. And if you doubt me, actually, you ought to hear what Dr. Will does in his off time. What he does, all these wells that are supposedly dry, guess what? He's the guy they called to turn them back on. How does he do it? He does it biologically. This is what he does. He gets them turned back on biologically. Yeah, oil is abiotic. But anyway, they want you to believe that we live in this scarcity environment where we're going to run out of this any other day because, once again, you can rob and kill a person once, but you can steal from him again and again. And that's exactly what they see us as. All right, so the last one here is a little fun one. Archaeologists uncover vast prehistoric pit circle from the Neolithic era near Stonehenge. Give you the long and short of this one. Son, check this out. They're actually figuring out, mainstream archaeology is figuring out what many of us have long suspected, that the official history we have out there ain't exactly right. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I remember, what was it, in school? We were talking about radiocarbon dating and stuff like that. I don't remember specifically which variation, but they only get numbers that coincide with the timeline, the approved official timeline, only like 14% of the time. So that's like, we ran this test, we didn't get the numbers we like, so we're going to keep running this test until we get numbers that fit what fits our timeline.
Oh, I mean, it's PCR test.
I was getting there, but I didn't want to say it. Yeah. Basically, yeah. I mean, especially once you start getting into like what's coined the mud flood type stuff, which it's amazing that a lot of these mud flood people aren't like, looking into scripture and being like, oh, yeah, that does check out. There was a massive flood. Yeah, I mean, looking at a lot of that, I think a lot of these structures and a lot of these buildings are all a lot older than what people want to say. For example, like the Montana Capitol building, the few photos that exist of the Montana Capitol building, there's literally nothing else around the Capitol building. And it looks like it's being refurbished, not built. Also, you're telling me at the time that it was built, you're telling me a bunch of cowboys and all that found, like, basically a bunch of cowboys and farmers and ranchers had all the resources necessary to mine the rock that was needed for the Capitol building, bring it to the location, and build this huge, massive Capitol building with no other structures around it. Like, there's a lot of questions to be asked. And then also, if you go into any downtown city, all these like half buried windows and all that type of stuff, all of it's a lie, is what I'm trying to get at. Is that everything we're told about history, everything we're told about archaeology, all of it is a lie.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is on a lot of this stuff. I just know that what I'm being officially told is a lie. I mean, honestly, as of late, that's why I call them pathological liars, because they lie even when the truth would serve them better. And this is what blows my mind. No matter what it is, I don't care what it is, it always turns out to be a lie. So in a nutshell, they're finding out as they're doing, they're going around Stonehenge and they're finding out, wow, man, this is too uniform, man. There's a whole nother structure down here that's way wider. It's a mile, I think, in diameter. This thing is enormous. And it's like 5 meters wide. And it's like, I don't know if it's a cavern. I don't know what it is. And the natural thing is, well, hey, let's go down here and take a look at it. But of course, nobody wants to go out there and take a look at it. The thing that blows my mind with all of this stuff, you take, science was absolutely sure about, mankind and, our settlements and all this stuff. And then lo and behold, what pops out of Turkey? Göbekli Tepe. Yeah, say that 10 times. Then they come to find out, oh, hold on, man, we got some serious megaliths down here, structures at a time where humans weren't even supposed to be around. or not have any capability of doing this. Everything they say, and then these archaeologists they have pop up on Netflix or whatever the case may be, or on Joe Rogan. I know him, that he's probably another CIA plan. In fact, I'm sure of it, him and a number of others out there. I don't know that these guys are right or wrong. I just know that whatever is officially told is almost certainly a lie. So I'm glad that people are asking questions about this latest find at Stonehenge.
The Stonehenge thing, Dad, they got the word to not excavate it because the Hasidic Jews from New York were like, hey, you already uncovered enough of our tunnels. You're going to start popping out the woodworks if they start excavating.
Yeah, there ain't no telling, man. Hey, Alabama says Henry Ford used to tell people that oil was disappearing to get them to buy cars from him. You know what? It's funny you bring that up because honestly, one of the first cars out there, believe it or not, was a battery car that did not need to be plugged in. And Dr. Stephen Greer had a documentary. Man, I wish I could think of the name of it right now, but it was a really, really good documentary about all this hidden technology that was very well known once upon a time. And they just got rid of it. They just scrubbed it out of history because, like I said, you can rob and kill a person once, but you can steal from them again and again. So, the bottom line is, there was a whole lot of things in the past that, these structures at Teotihuacan or Sacsayhuaman, Gobek, I mean, all these things, we have no idea how to build them today. Not a clue. And we're just, the official story. Well, what's the official? The Inca did it. Even the Inca were saying, we didn't do it. We showed up here. And in fact, the structures they did, it's like you can see it on top of the structure that was already there. They're like, no, we had nothing to do with this, man. It was already here. So everything about our history, everything. Look, the reason why I'm calling this good news is that at least people are starting to ask questions. And hey, Alabama, or who was it? They did satanic rituals at Stonehenge. Yeah, they did them there. And I can't tell you what, they're still doing them today.
Yep.
They just may not. I think in many cases, I think every abortion clinic is a satanic ritual site. And if you, I better not go sideways on this.
Well, they call it the Super Bowl halftime show. They just involve everybody now, whether you know it or not. It's like all out in the public. It's all like they just involve everybody now. Instead of it being, they realize like they can tap into, everybody's participation, whether they know it or not, whether they recognize it or not. They're telling you it's in plain sight. They're just involving everybody now, everybody who participates.
Well, Son, since we came down this rabbit hole and we're kind of nearing the end of the show because I let it run a little bit too long, so we're not going to get into the notes we had. We might as well just keep it right on this topic.
Okay.
So, so hey, man, I mean, everybody, yeah. Oh, yeah. Colleen says, Noah's Ark is in Turkey also. Yeah, there was a lot of people that did a lot of work on that kind of stuff. And they even came back with, I guess you could say it was photographic evidence. But then you have some people say it was on Mount Ararat. You have other people saying that it was in another place. The thing is, I want you to think about this. The powers that shouldn't be. Think about how many people overnight would be followers of Christ if they were to find out that, whoa, there really is an ark up on Mount Ararat. And how the powers that shouldn't be have got to suppress all this stuff, because if all of a sudden you have one, let's say they find the gopher wood up there, they find the boat, they find the whole 9 yards, they find everything. And I suspect they might have. You know what that's going to do? The levers of power that these people have right now, they would disappear overnight. What do you think, son?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, okay, talking about a mass conversion event, what happens if they confirm that the earth ain't the shape that they tell everybody? I mean, they put a globe in every classroom, everywhere you go, there's a globe-shaped earth model. I mean, there would be a mass conversion, because you cannot deny that there is a creator if the earth is flat and we're under a dome, under the firmament, right? And then, okay, since we're on this topic, let's talk about my theory about how we possibly landed on the moon. It's because it's within the firmament and it's much, much closer than what they say it is. It's not thousands and thousands of miles away. It's right. I think it's like right there. I mean, there's videos you can find on YouTube of people, like amateur rocket people shooting rockets at it and then it bouncing off and it sounding like this big bell. I think it's entirely possible that they did actually go to the moon. They didn't have to compete with the Van Allen radiation belts because it's closer than they are. So I think it's possible that they may have realized that the moon was far closer than they were saying, and then possibly went to the moon, but they still had to fake it because they couldn't confirm. They still had to fake the footage and everything because they couldn't confirm that the moon was much closer than it actually is, or what they actually say it is. That being said, I don't really care if we went to the moon or not. Everything that they told us about the moon is a big lie, and this is just a theory. I don't know if they actually did or not. It's just a thought, something that I've been thinking about lately is, I wonder if they actually did to go to the moon and they still had to fake it because they couldn't confirm that the moon was like right there. What do you think?
I think that's an interesting theory, but at the same time, I think the moon is plasma. When I was a kid, they told us that the reason why you had the phases of the moon is because the Earth is in between the sun and the moon and it creates the phases. And I'm like, okay, why am I looking up right now, midday? Somebody explain this one to me. How is it I'm looking up midday, and I see a half moon and a sun, I don't know, at the same time? So how do you create, how does that happen? Or here's another one. I got another little conundrum for you out there. Nobody cares to answer. How is it when it's dark enough, when I've been in some of those places where, let's say I was in the middle of a Kuwaiti desert or whatever, and I'm looking up in the sky and I see, how am I seeing stars through half of the other moon in the half that should still be there if it's a solid object? How am I seeing stars in the place where the moon should be? How's that happening? I'd like to know that. There's not one thing, but like you said, that would be a mass conversion moment. Other one that I heard, now I can't confirm this one yet, but I would love, look, if I did anything over again, if I had to pick another career, my ship came in, pun intended, I would definitely be an Indiana Jones kind of archaeologist kind of guy. There's things, there's ships alongside the Missouri River I still want to dig up, and Lord willing, I'll get it done. But in addition to that, there are supposedly archaeological finds, and I heard this with Greg Hunter. He has a pretty good show, and I heard this with Greg Hunter talking about how they found all of these wreckages of carriages at the bottom of the Red Sea. Well, how did they get there? Somebody didn't just jettison them off the side of a ship. Chariots and stuff that are right there at the bottom of the Red Sea. And I can't remember the name of the guest. I think his name, Bo Pony. I think he was on there talking about this, and I was listening to the audio version of it, but I was like, boy, you talk about a mass conversion moment. Well, if it's down there, do you ever think that stuff will see the light of day? If it is, why wouldn't you send rovers down there? That would be a much bigger find than the Titanic, for crying out loud. But boy, you can't have that stuff see the light of day. There's a whole lot of these things. In fact, you want to talk about some of the other BS architecture that's out there, this Wailing Wall that everybody's at. What did Jesus say? That every single stone there was going to be removed. Yeah. Every last one of them. Folks, these people are over there bowing at a Roman temple, or actually a Roman fort. It was gone. In fact, if you doubt me, go look at the works of Josephus. If you don't know about Josephus, he was there when Vespasian and Titus initially went after, I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes version, but he was there in Jerusalem when Rome was sent to march on Jerusalem. They get over there, and of course it was impregnable. Nobody ever believed. In fact, Titus in his writings afterwards says, man, we can't even believe without divine intervention, there was no way we could have ever taken the city. I think they had 75,000 people, 75,000 men, and they killed they went Old Testament on every living thing they crossed on the way into Jerusalem. Because of the infighting and the things that were going on there, they were able to do the most unbelievable destruction in human history. In fact, well, I won't get into that right now. I was going to open up a whole nother can of worms. Well, anyway, when Vespasian was attacking them, they were like, okay, they're going to kill everybody on the way there. And then they got a 2-week reprieve because Vespasian was called back to Rome because that lunatic that was running things in Rome killed himself. And now they're like, okay, we're in a bind right now. So anyway, Titus was brought back. And if you were going to have anybody conquer you, you were going to want it to be Titus, who was the son of Vespasian. Anyway, he gets back there, and even he can't stop these guys from destroying this place. And because the rumors were that there was gold in the temples and all the other structures around there, and because they burned the whole city to the ground, they thought the gold had leaked down through all of the structures. So when Jesus said there would not be another stone upon another, well, now you see it all come together. Even Josephus, who was almost certain, well, he was a Pharisee. There's no way he was a devotee of Jesus. He said, you would not even know that there was ever a city there by the time they were done, because they plowed up every single thing. And I want to say this, some of the foundations went down 40 feet. They took it all out, every single bit of it. And he said, you would have never known there was a city there. So that Wailing Wall that you guys are over there praying to, no, that's a Roman fort, Jack, because there was nothing left on top of one another. What do you think of that, son?
Yeah, that checks out. How much evidence does it? I mean, this just shows that like no amount of evidence you can present someone will get them to believe Scripture. It's 100% a heart condition or heart posture for them to believe Scripture word for word for exactly what it says. Yeah, it's 100% a heart posture. I mean, you can go anywhere and kind of make the argument or show the evidence anywhere you go. Or this mass mud flood. Everything everywhere is covered in mud. There's something covered in like a whole bunch of sediment, and you still can't get people to connect the dots to like, hey, this is the flood of Noah. We were told about this in Scripture. Ken and Amy said, y'all are making my head spin and hurt. Good stuff.
Well, I'm just keeping it real, Ken and Amy. I mean, this is why, I see Revelation maybe a little bit different than a lot of them out there. And I haven't yet made up my mind yet. I'm still a work in progress, but I tend to believe that a lot of the stuff I was taught to me by people who A, didn't examine it for themselves, and B, frankly, I didn't look at it enough. This is why I'm going back. That's why when Jesus said, he says, man, don't cry for me. I mean, he knew what was going to happen in 70 AD. And it was the worst military butt kicking in history. There is not a more decisive, even in the way it even went down at Masada. I mean, if you look at the accounts just from Josephus alone, it was crazy what was going on in there. If the people in Jerusalem had stuck together, if they weren't fighting among themselves, even Titus said there was no possible way that they could have ever conquered that city. No way. No how. They had food to last for years and years and years. But even Josephus reveals that they were burning down each other's food supplies, that these people started going crazy. And, I heard it said before, and I tend to believe it, that not a single Christian died in the fall of Jerusalem because they heard what Jesus said and they weren't there. So, who knows for sure? But, a lot of them think that they went to Pella.
I mean, the punishment makes sense when you analyze what had actually happened. They completely corrupted the law. They completely added to and subtracted from and created they added a bunch of man-made ordinances to the law that were never intended to be. And then B, they killed the Messiah and said, let his blood be on us and our children. That's exactly what's supposed to happen if you make those claims. Your whole city gets destroyed to the point where there's not a rock on top of another one.
Right. That's why I'm saying that people go over there thinking, oh, you really think you're having this mystical experience over there in Jerusalem? Well, folks, in fact, some of the biggest evidence out there right now is that what they're calling the area where the temple was is not even close to where it actually was. They have no idea what is actually over there. I mean, it's a giant shell game, man. They're sitting there telling folks that this stuff is something that it's not. Look, at the end of the day, that place was destroyed, and people think that these folks over there now calling themselves Jews And I say that for a reason, folks. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic or create any issue over there, but if somebody wants, maybe I ought to do a program sometime where we talk about this, where I actually break out some of the documents of the people, the Jews over there, the people calling themselves Jews over there, where I can break out the actual documents and show you from 2009 of the people that were doing genetic testing over there, saying that that like 95% of the people over there have no Abrahamic blood at all.
But Abrahamic blood means nothing. Paul makes that super clear.
Exactly. I know that's my point. But what I'm saying is, if they're using that argument, well, you better have some Abrahamic blood. But even I agree with you 100%. It makes no difference whatsoever. But at the end of the day, these people are a bunch of imposters. And I think I might have to do a show, since I ain't worried. I mean, we're not on the regular channels, and I feel more at liberty to say exactly what I think, because it's starting to become real and real right now. Because like you said, what did you call Netanyahu?
The Satan's lobbyist.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what he is right now, showing up every other day. So, yeah, I mean, this guy, along with all the other people over there, they got Trump by the short hairs, and they got everybody else there too. So maybe I'll have to do a program where I just break it all out and just tell you exactly what I think, not what I think, but what I know, what I can prove, because I got the documents. I can sit here and break it out. Michael Hoffman, a number of others out there that have done work, saying, man, look, there ain't no Abrahamic blood in these folks at all, man. In fact, the Palestinians are more Semitic than these folks here calling themselves Semites. That's why it's illegal to do blood tests over there, to do DNA tests. So, folks, everything, man, I don't even know what to call this show, son.
We'll see. We'll see. That's what we should call every show.
Yeah. Well, man, you know what? Maybe we ought to do a couple of shows where we just kind of go off the deep end a little bit and break out some of the things that we believe or suspect that we don't necessarily talk about in public. I mean, we broke out a couple of them here, that maybe the earth is not structured the way you think it is. That every single thing, look, folks, I'm going to break it down this way. I'm going to be serious for a minute here. I know I'm kidding around a little bit, but I'll be honest with you, with my examination of the world around me and the things I know, the one thing I am 1,000% convinced of is Jesus is exactly who he said he was. That's the one thing I know for sure. He was the Messiah, is the Messiah. He was brought here. People celebrate Christmas and Easter. I do it every single day. I don't call them Christmas and Easter. I don't celebrate either one of them. But my point being, every single day when Michelle and I sit down there and when we pray, I thank the Lord for sending his only begotten son to die for my sins, that he's risen again and at his right hand. So that's the one thing I'm 100% sure of, y'all. So everything else, we can sit here and argue about it all day long. I can bring up all the reasons why they may be lying about this and that, but that's the one thing I know that I have no doubts about. And folks are like, well, you might be do you believe it honestly? Have you examined it? Yes. Just like everything else. There's never been more proof. And folks, if you don't know him, I suggest you get out there, start looking. If you need guidance on that sort of thing, I'm gonna, in these times especially, I think I need to be talking about it more. I've never had a problem talking about it. It's just we're a permaculture show, but at the same time, what good is any of this stuff? I mean, you can feed yourself for a whole lifetime, but if you lose your soul, what did it all matter? So if you don't know Jesus, y'all, I suggest you get to know him, especially right now, because things are about to get real in the United States of Amnesia. What else you got to add, son?
Yeah, I think the next episode we should talk about like what our beliefs are, and just make that stance, because I don't think that's ever something that I've made known on my channel, and I don't know that you've gone in depth about it on your channel or anything like that. So let's do that the next episode.
Yeah, I mean, if people ask, I mean, these conversations typically come up when, you're at a gathering or whatever. That's why some of these gatherings are so cool, because to a certain extent, when you're behind a microphone or whatever, you feel guarded and you feel as if, there's a certain part of you that, you know, I've always felt hindered by the fact that, man, I'm on YouTube. I can't say what I want. I can't. And then so we started the podcast, and then I was saying exactly what I wanted to say. And then we brought it back to YouTube thinking, okay, well, we can, you know, tailor. And then, you know, you're suppressed again. So then you find yourself in this yin and yang, and you're like, okay, enough already, man. I'm not calling for violence. I'm not saying this. I'm not saying that. There are things I believe and things I don't believe, things I know to be true and things I have a lot of suspicion about. So yeah, maybe we ought to go ahead and do that. I think it'd be a fun show to do. And Colleen says, yes, please. So look, I mean, maybe we'll talk about some of this stuff and we might blow your mind, but folks, that's the mark of a real thinker. And you may absolutely disagree with all of it. But remember, a mark of a real thinker is the ability to hear any argument without necessarily agreeing or disagreeing with it. It's just hearing that argument and being able to say, okay, give me your proof. That's the mark of a real thinker. But if you come out with, you're a conspiracy nut, well, that tells me everything I need to know about your thought. At least say, hey, show me your evidence. Because if I say if somebody tells me something wacky, man, in the world I live in right now, I'm like, okay, show me what you got. And then if it is wacky, if it's wacky,
I want to hear it.
yeah, let me hear it, man. At least I'll be entertained, even if it is crazy. Yeah. I mean, I've heard some doozies over the years, no doubt about that. Anyway, cool.
I think we got to do that next episode. That everybody's saying yes.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and do something like that. I'm not quite sure what that's going to look like, but that's going to take a lot of work for me to gather some of this evidence. But anyway, maybe we'll go ahead and get that done. All right, son. Anything else to add?
No, I'm excited about the next episode. This will be fun.
All right, y'all. I want to thank everybody for checking us out tonight. As you know, we're not going to be on the regular channels anymore because of YouTube. So who knows? Maybe they'll get us a strike on this one, but I guarantee they're going to give us a strike on the next one. So we'll see. We'll see how this whole thing. You may have to watch us all on Rumble from here on out, y'all. All right,
the audio platform.
There you go, on the audio platform. Who knows? All right, y'all. I want to thank everybody for checking us out. Till next time, you know the deal. Stay alert.
Stay alive.
Nature, the knowledge rings, roots that run deep, wisdom from soul, permaculture dreams. Let the ideas unfold. I'm moving with the truth. Feeling nature's good. Who's got the answers? All we need to do, listen to the earth, they got us through. Let's see the change. Watch the world spin from the smallest sprout to harmony begin in the cycle of life. For the magic's alive, tune it to the beat.